Well, welcome to the 700 Club. President-elect Trump says he's getting close to finishing work on one of his top campaign priorities, a replacement plan for Obamacare. He also expects the Republican Congress to move quickly on tax cuts and building a wall on the border with Mexico.
Yesterday, Mr. Trump had a public dispute with one of President Obama's key officials, the head of the CIA. Caitlin Burke has the story.
Tensions between outgoing CIA Director John Brennan and President-elect Trump escalated over the weekend after Trump suggested Sunday that Brennan could be behind the leak of an unsubstantiated report alleging Russia holds compromising information on him. Trump pointed to comments made Sunday by Brennan on Fox News, suggesting Trump doesn't understand the capabilities of Russia and the threat it poses to the world.
What I think Mr. Trump has to understand is that this is more than being about him. And it's about the United States and our national security. The president-elect took to Twitter, asking his followers if the CIA director could have been the leaker of fake news. Famed Washington Post journalist Bob Woodward said on Fox News Sunday that Trump is right to be upset with the intelligence community, calling the Russia document garbage. And Mike Pence is also defending the president-elect, criticizing comments made by Democratic Congressman John Lewis, a civil rights icon, that he didn't see President-elect Donald Trump as, quote, a legitimate president.
There's no question about the legitimacy of this election, and for John Lewis to make those statements is deeply disappointing.
Pence went on to say that he hopes anyone considering a boycott from Trump's inauguration will reconsider and instead celebrate the peaceful transition of power. Trump himself is still planning to get off to a fast start once he's inaugurated as president Friday, telling the Washington Post this weekend the replacement plan for Obamacare is nearing completion, with the goal of insurance for everyone. Caitlin Burke, CBN News.
Well, insurance for everyone may be a fine goal, but it's going to be tough to get there and get that through a Republican Congress bent on trying to keep the federal deficit in some kind of manageable condition. My fear going into this election and into this new administration is how will we ever come together as a people? And if you have representatives saying we're going to boycott, you have representatives saying this is not a legitimate president, calling into question the election, calling into question his right to have the presidency, how will we ever come together as a people? We need to pray and pray for America that we could be one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If these divisions continue, I don't see a good future for us. We need to have unity going forward. Well, this Friday we'll have a special Inauguration Day edition of the 700 Club. We'll have reports on President-elect Trump and the impact his administration will have on the United States and the world. Well, the International Peace Conference in Paris this weekend recommended that the Palestinians should have their own state side by side with Israel. But it doesn't look like the Trump White House will support that policy. Chris Mitchell brings us the story from Jerusalem.
More than 70 countries sent representatives to the Paris Peace Summit, including more than 30 foreign ministers. But the final resolution said nothing new.
Our first goal is to say, with strength, that a two-state solution is the only possible one. It is the only one that provides an answer to the legitimate aspirations and rights of both parties.
But Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the conference would only drive peace further away.
It creates a bigger gap regarding peace because it hardens the Palestinian stance and distances direct negotiations without preconditions.
Israel was concerned the summit would become a springboard for another anti-Israel resolution at the UN. The U.S. abstained, allowing anti-settlement resolution 2334 to pass just before Christmas. But Secretary of State John Kerry called Netanyahu to assure him that wouldn't be the case. CBN senior editor John Waggy said Kerry's statement is a reflection of a major transition.
I think this could be a real pivot point as far as world diplomacy goes, because the incoming Trump administration has signaled that they aren't prepared to do business as usual. And business as usual for the past 40 years essentially has been Israel needs to make painful sacrifices in order to bring peace with the Palestinians.
Now Israel and the rest of the world are waiting for Friday and the transition of power to Trump. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Well, I'm glad the dire predictions of what would come out of that Paris conference didn't happen. It was just a reaffirmation of what has been the hope for a long period of time, that there actually could be a two-state solution. The real problem, though, is now the international community is putting pressure on Israel to give up East Jerusalem. That includes the Jewish Quarter, the Western Wall, the Temple Mount, the Jewish graveyard on the Mount of Olives, all of that. Over almost 6 synagogues. It just doesn't make any sense for the international community to pressure Israel to voluntarily withdraw to the 67 borders, given that kind of history and their claim to Jerusalem. We'll see what the new administration will do, and will Trump fulfill his promise to move the U.S. embassy to Jerusalem? That will be a signal event of the next 8 years, hopefully, or 4 years of his presidency. We'll be right back with more of the 700 Club after this.